and welcome to Daily Politics, reaching you from Trust TV here in Abuja. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. My name is Suleiman. Today, we are looking at women participation in the 2023 political process. Before Chief Bola Tinubu officially announced his intention to contest for the presidency next year, a certain 33-year-old woman beat him to it. The aspirant, Khadija Okunu Lamidi, last week told reporters in Lagos that, in quote, "I seek to change the direction of our country because time and chance will happen to all of us and the time for action is now." She was talking about standing for president in next year's elections. In the coming days, more declarations will follow those of Tinubu and others. Many of them are expected to be women like Khadija Okunu Lamidi. Just like in 2019, candidates like Eunice Atuejide, Obiekwesili, Remio Sonaya, Umma Geto, Khadija Abdullahi Iya, among many others, were on the race for the presidency either as flag bearers or as running mates. But so far, all the speculations and permutations have been on only the men. So we ask, where are the women? Will they consolidate the experience of 2019? Are we going to have a woman president, or indeed, Madam President, in 2023? Joining me on the program today is a woman who knows all about a presidential race. She has been there and done it. Hajia Umma Geto was the running mate to the presidential candidate of the Young Progressive Party, the YPP. Of course, that's in the 2019 presidential elections. Also with me is Mr. Salahuddin Hashim, who is the Program Officer, Democratic Governance at Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC in Abuja. He is also a well-known public affairs analyst. Welcome to Daily Politics.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
But before we continue, we'll just take 1 minute and we'll be back.
January 15th every year, Nigeria observes the Armed Forces Remembrance Day in honor of soldiers who gave their lives for the unity of the nation. All across the country, wreaths are laid, speeches are made, government officials attend elaborate parades performed by soldiers and the Nigerian Legion. What is celebrated is the surrender of the secessionist Biafran forces to the Nigerian government on January 15, 1917. January 15th was also the day the first military coup took place in Nigeria. January 15th, 1966 and January 15th, 1970 all hold deep significance in the history of the country. Is this a mere coincidence? Join us on Trust TV as we bring you an exclusive broadcast of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day on January 15th, 2022.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Daily Politics, and today we're discussing the very possibility of a woman, not just as presidential candidate, but also as president of Nigeria in 2023. After all, there are just two sets of Nigerians, men and women. Thank you. So let me start straight with you, Hajia Umar. In 2019, we have several women who appeared on the political scene as running mates to many flag bearers. Yourself, you were one of them. Are we looking at something bigger in 2023?
Thank you very much, Suleiman. I may say definitely there's going to be an improvement, because I used to tell people 2019 is not about losing or winning, it's all about being part of the game. And us appearing 2019 is a game changer for Nigerian women, because I'm very sure if there will be a proper statistic that will be taken, you will see that number of women that are now in the political space is far more different. And the second thing is, those days there's a kind of interpretation that it's only some certain caliber of women that are found in the political environment. But God's so kind, people like myself that I've been a mother all my life, I've been a wife all my life, our own appearance in the political terrain made it a kind of easier for women like us to come forward. And I'm telling you, 2023 is going to be a very, very different game. I know a lot of women that have been empowered.
So what's going to be different?
There'll be a lot of women.
Beyond the number.
There'll be a lot of women coming forward. And we need people to believe in what we're doing. And faces like you mentioned, Eunice and others, will definitely even give women that are having the capacity, because those days people don't even consider seeing women, but now I've seen it on social media and a lot of places, faces like Amina Mohammed, and a lot of strong, even her own self, the former, what I say, I forgot her name. Okonjuela, God bless you. I saw all their faces now on social media coming forward. People are now looking at them as options. And definitely, I'm telling you, if a woman will be given chance, definitely it's going to be a different one, because we can see other women like in Ethiopia and other countries. Women are definitely doing better than the men. So I know 2019 is a start. Yes.
For Nigeria will come there.
Yes.
We'll be right
it's a good one.
Now. So to come down to reality, by Mr. Salahuddin, you have worked around, on issues of women, promoting women participation. Women, they make up half of the electorate, but just about 10 to 15% of candidates in political offices, and even less so of people who are actually holding public office, either appointed or elected. Where do we lose the remaining 50%, because they are 50% of the, where is the gap created?
All right, thank you very much. I think women have the right to vote and to be voted for, and if that is established, it suggests that they also have played very significant role, just like Haja Umar had earlier mentioned, in our political process. So the revolution of our political space cannot be complete without mentioning specific revolutionaries, who contributed very strongly in that particular direction. And if you look at the statistics that is presented to us, it suggests very clearly where we lost it. One is with our social constructs. There is this social construct that suggests that one, women are less qualified to particularly lead in some executive roles. Two, there are cultural connections, that suggest that there are certain decisions and courage that shouldn't be so. But my point is that if we have seen clearly the very enormous contribution, go to polling units, go to any political, you will see that even rallies, campaigns, political parties, in fact, women make the majority of it, very overwhelming. Then my point is that why then does the society now ostracize them when it comes to giving them the benefits of reaping the fruits of their labor? So that I think that is actually a major challenge. 5.6% in the Senate, 6.5% in the Parliament, and if you check the elective, executive, legislative, and the local, you will realize that there is a thorough underrepresentation, and it speaks to one thing: patriarchal practice, in our elective process has brought us thus far. The question is, where has that patriarchal nature?
But how can it be patriarchal practice when they actually come out to vote? Because that's what you see. You see, when you see clips of voting queues across the country, you find, well, in some places you're likely to have men here, women here, but in other places you just have one queue. But either way, you see quite a lot of women on the queue. That's participation.
Yeah.
So if there is no patriarchy in preventing people from participating to go and vote, how can there be patriarchy in preventing them from standing? Since you have
Sorry, before I answer your question, I want to correct you when you said women are not qualified. There are a lot of qualified women out there, but there's something. Let me come back to your question. this game, as he mentioned, and all over the world, we all know that if at all today Hillary Clinton, due to some strings that are holding the woman back, she's not allowed to get there. What of women like us that we just started few years ago? Politics, apart from Gambasawaba, especially in Nigeria, and people like Leila Dogonyaro and very few others. And even if you count their journey so far, it's still not even up to 30 years, I think, or 40 years. So what we all need is a starting point, which we've already laid that ground by the grace of God. And maybe, as I told you earlier, there will be a kind of populating the whole system. When that trust, electing somebody is all about trusting that person for you to know he has the capability. So all we need, we've already started, and we are now on the journey to where we're heading to. And we're now creating more awareness. All we need, those women that are not voting for other women, it's not anything.
Are you
it's
saying
because
that the problem is starting late? Rather than the cultural constructs
but
that
a lot of things. If I start listening them, we're going to sleep here. There are a lot of factors that used to hold women back. There are natural causes, not even the cultural. There are even natural causes that a woman needs to double, multitask to be a woman and to be out there giving her own maximum. We are well qualified. We have the strength, but all we need is like somebody to lead us. And there are a lot of women now out there to lead others. And I'm telling you now, Nigeria can be a kind of, let me say, trend breaker. The trend will definitely happen. It can still happen. It can definitely happen in Nigeria to see a woman, as in Nigeria might be the first nation that will have a kind of female president. It's definitely possible because we've already started. And I'm telling you, those days, there are some years I know that I cannot stand in front of fellow women or even Nigerians to say I am a politician. But now a lot of women are proud to do it and they're supporting people like us.
Good. So but the way she's putting it, it appears that there's not much stigma in being known as a female politician.
Absolutely.
So if that is the case, where is the ostracization?
Yeah, the issue of...
Isn't that the factors more structural than cultural?
Yeah, absolutely. The issue of qualification is actually a social construct, which is not the opinion. I'm just trying to air what people's perception out there suggests. First of all, I think even within political parties, we have not seen some kind of, like we saw some deliberate efforts in 2019, where some parties say, look, for every women contestants, they will provide 0 tickets in terms of fee, free tickets, forms, nomination forms for you to do that. That is some kind of deliberate effort to get that done. Between 2019 and 2023, I tell you a number of things that would happen. One is that there will be economic crunch that has actually deepened women participation the more. It would actually ostracize women even much more than what we saw in 2019, because women are less empowered. The economic crunch and the meltdown has affected them the most, because they are the worst affected when there is challenge, economic setback. They are the ones who bear the brunt. She mentioned the issue of natural construct. There are certain things. I mean, I actually give courage to a lot of men who support their wives, to actually vie for politics. Because the patriarchal practice that we talk about, that even political meetings are held in the middle of the night. You discover that you need to have some level of confidence and trust.
Political interviews.
Like absolutely. So you discover that for you to be relevant, for you to be vibrant, for you to be visible, you need to be able to actually take on some patriarchal practice as a woman also, because there are certain things that is not socially known with our women, and of course it is so, but we must not allow those social setbacks to actually affect the kind of visibility that women want to take. Then secondly, the national gender policy say that look, 35% women affirmative action, but of course I have not also seen to say that look, whether in terms of elective or appointive roles, that we have also responded to that, and that was actually 5% above the Beijing declaration, which means that as a national government, we actually saw beyond the 30% that the Beijing had actually recommended and said, look, we want 35%, but there is no deliberate will in that particular direction.
That's a very important one, because if you look at the 2019 elections, in which you were a participant, you notice that a lot of the women that came out in the alternative parties. you know, the YPP, the Zenith Labour Party, you know, Action Party, you know, Accord and all that. These parties that have lower representation at all levels across the country. You know. But within the two dominant parties, the PDP and the APC, women's participation or representation continues to be much lower. What's happening there?
As I said earlier, there's one thing in politics. Politics is something you build over time.
Okay.
And these two giant parties that we're seeing, there's a kind of, even the men there are struggling to survive.
Let alone.
There's one psyche that I wish Nigerians will start thinking in a different dimension, believing that the faces we're used to seeing must be there. This is, for example, now, whosoever is coming out, Nigerians will say, do we even know him? We have that. So, as I told you that the journey of women started a little bit late because of we all know the kind of challenges. We all know why we're not there. But now, for us to impact, or for us to make impact, to see people like us in PDP or APC or any other party, or as in building our own party to a stronger level, is going to still take a little time. For example, now we're still building. From 2019 to 2023 is 4 years. Okay. And as I'm telling you, why we're not into all those political parties, maybe if I said I'm starting with APC or PDP, maybe I'll end up being a woman leader in Kano State, which I don't want that. I want to build my own house, which I did by registering, co-founding my own political party. It's a very, very, very good start. It's a courageous start because I feel like I should create my own platform. Absolutely. If at all I'm in the state, I will not be running with Professor Kingsley Moghalu, isn't it? I will not be known by people like you. So I believe it's a national, you have to, maybe politics is something that you have to make a direct impact. We did everything with our own party. We reached the grassroots and we put a lot of weight to see how we can encourage women to come into the journey. And I'm telling you, the result will definitely show as time goes on. That, let me say, building over time is what's blocking women like us be in PDP or APC. But as time goes on, maybe even the people in PDP and APC will come and join us because our force will be very, very strong.
Thank you. That will be because people are talking about the third force, you know, or the third rescue, Nigeria, the rescue Nigeria, you know, movement, just the alternative party. To what extent, Mr. Salahuddin, do you see that can change the political landscape, particularly for women?
Yeah, I think, like she said, I will look forward to a revolutionary and courageous move that allows for women to, as a matter of fact, like the Labour Party, okay, that developed an ideology, that women can then have a political party with an ideology to actually eke out a leadership. Okay, it may not be actualized now, but if you see those kind of initiatives and say, okay, maybe for the next 12 years, that means we must have two interregnum of elections, and say that is actually the focus, but you begin with a female movement kind of ideal that suggests that you want to begin to map at every level of governance the kind of representation. You will discover that there will be a lot of mass movements of women, even there will be male gender activists who would actually join.
He for she's.
Yes, exactly. So, and look, evidence have shown very clearly, and it is abundant, that women leadership, okay, seem to have some level of empathy towards development. Well. Okay, they say what a woman can do, what a man can do, a woman can do better. But of course, that also comes to
certainly, I was going to ask that you know, what can women do differently? But we will get to that. What if we consider, for example, that okay, even if you want to do this movement, you still need money.
Yeah,
and money is very, very important in politics, you know, everywhere in the world, but especially in Nigeria, where in addition to campaigns, you might still maybe need to provide logistics for people to move from one place to another, pay transport fee, pay hotel bills, for, you know, and so on and so forth. So to what extent is that an issue for women?
It's not an issue for anybody. If at all today, President Muhammad Buhari can be president. Okay. Everybody with an empty pocket can be president.
30 million.
Well, a lot of us have more than that. So we all know, before 2019, I used to just talk this language. I used to speak this language, like you said, that is it possible without money? So if you're in the political journey and you're truly willing to get in the game, and the people around you and people that believe in, as in putting the president there or working with the president, money will happen. I always will tell people, politics, when you're in politics, you drag the right crowd,
Okay.
you make the right choices with the right people, money, boom, will happen. That's how Nigeria, not even Nigeria.
So where
that's
would it
how
come from?
politics works in the whole world.
Yes.
I'm very, you're a journalist. I don't think you're supposed to ask me that, because you know how fundings are made.
For the viewers, yes.
You know how fundings are made politically. Even during Obama's campaign, there were a lot of fundraisings, because nobody can, no person can bring
fundraising in Nigeria is very specific from fundraising in the United States.
I know, but
US,
we all have,
course,
because of the
even in
culture,
US,
because of the tradition, we all have
rich
different
people funding campaigns, although there are limits. But here it is the godfather and the godmother.
And there are expectations.
That expend the resource and expects to recoup these resources.
Yeah.
So how does that change the dynamics between our case and some of the issues that Haja Umar is saying?
Exactly, like I said, economically speaking, well, yes, there might be it is because of the absence of ideology within our political party. Okay, and that is why the issue of funding actually comes to this space. If you go to a Democrat, whatever thing it is you give to him, he doesn't. Trump might be a very as whatever thing, but the fact is that a Republican is a Republican.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't like. He may not like Trump.
Yes.
He may not like anybody, but he's a Republican. A Democrat is a Democrat. He may not like anybody, but the fact is that here, go to any political party, tell them to give you their nominal list of members. You take that list, go to another political party. You find similarities in same name. So it is actually absence of ideology. Like I said, if you have a women movement that have a deep-rooted ideology in building a strong force and have a projection for a number of years, and it is an ideology.
Is there any indication of something like that right now in Nigeria? Because even the third force, they tend to resemble the two big forces more than are different from them. Some people are saying that,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe him first and then you can.
It's actually our political DNA.
Okay.
The DNA suggests that until we come to the issue of ideology, that does not allow people to move to become political prostitutes. Okay, that is the challenge we have, where one political party looks like the other one, and you can really strike a difference. People must actually learn to stick to their guns. If you are in a party and you are disgruntled, stick to it, change the system, be there to change whatever thing that was not working. But you find somebody who today is in a party, tomorrow he moves to another, next tomorrow he moves to another, and that suggests that wherever he goes, the DNA he has actually brought from those parties, he actually imprints it here. But there are people who must actually build the infrastructure for a political party system that actually is forward-looking, that actually want to suggest that, look, it is at the party level that you begin to determine a number of things. And I also want to put on the table that if we must have a different structure going forward, the current electoral bill that is causing controversy also needs to re-engineering.
Okay.
The political party financing in that bill that has jacked funding
the ceiling cap.
over and that is a great problem.
Yes, what he's saying but is certainly important. For example, in that bill, it says that a president can now spend up to 15 billion naira for a presidential campaign, as against 1 billion, which it was in the current 2010 election. On the face of it, it looks like maybe it's just adjustment, given what Naira represented in 2010 and what Naira is now. There's a good chance that 1 billion Naira then is probably around 15 billion now. But it raises questions, particularly for women and youths as well, that where are they going to get that kind of money, and how are they going to raise it, given that the culture of fundraising, of people funding campaigns, is not really that strong in the country.
Well, I wish we can go back to the olden days where two people from two different backgrounds during the NPN and PRP as in your NPN, forever, die hard. Up to now, there are some in my state that they are die hard. If you're NPP, PRP, and NPN, we call them NSNC, they enter you. They can never, you can never cross. We can never cross road.
Yes.
Because, as he said, it's an ideology. The money and everything still, as in, if you take it, it will link you still back to this major problem. Those days when the political parties are stronger than the people in office.
Absolutely.
But now, if you're just in office, automatically you become the leader of a political party, or you just took whatsoever power, you can control the party chairman and everything. If you all want these things to flow the way we want them, we have to go back to the drawing board. As he said, Nigerians need to come and believe in something bigger than just people being elected and just entering the office with no results. We need to bring something, either a movement, either an ideology, either something, because all these things that's happening today in Nigeria, the insurgents, the whatsoever, is just as a result of our youths lost a kind of
confidence.
Not confidence, number one, and they have nothing to hold on to.
Interesting.
Why do you think we have extremism all over, and even whatsoever, Yahoo boys and the rest? This is the genesis. Our leaders are up there holding on to their family and friends, and the masses are just left anyhow. You enter your village, your villagers are following you, you have a flashy car, they are running towards you, you stop, give them 100 naira, 200 naira. You think they are not humans? You think they don't have brain? You think they don't want to enjoy that AC you're enjoying that your car? If we continue like this without the youths, because the youths are the majority of the population, coming out to claim back their lands, definitely, I don't think we're going anywhere in this country. We need something like what he mentioned, either an ideology, either a new movement, or whatsoever we can call it.
In terms of, because politics always have a theory and then also a practice. It's one thing to say we need a movement. It's another thing to actually have a movement, politically speaking, in Nigeria. How can that happen?
I think basically we need to build it around some traditional system that we knew to relate with in the past. And of course, do a SWOT analysis of what had actually gone wrong within our political movement. The emergence of modern day politics has actually suggested to us that there are fundamental gaps. And the gaps suggest that people no longer believe in a particular cause. What they simply want to do is pursue interest. And I'm very glad that you mentioned those way back political movements, that it is about fundamental beliefs. PRP, exactly. Fundamental beliefs. Today there are people who are socialist movements because they believe in some kind of ideals. There are people who are in the communist kind of thinking, because these are movements that people took over from the time they were students. They moved it into the political system. Those beliefs shaped even the career they chose. So unfortunately, we have now come into a modern politics that is fundamentally flawed, with interests, with funding, finance, and of course, people now using political office as gratification, because if you come, you work for me. We have seen cases where political promises have changed narratives, have changed dynamics, and have changed landscape. I'll give you the Osun case, for instance, during the last election. There was a run-up. And after the run-up, there was supposed to be one local government in Ife left. And Omishore at that time was a member of the PDP. And the other political party went and they struck a deal with him to say, look, if you're able to give up this place, and then, of course, there will be, as a matter of fact, the current crisis between Aregbesola and the city governor is as a result of the fact that Omishore was not given the promise of a ministerial post that was actually promised him. So these are political offices used as gratification that influences. So unfortunately, they are modern practice that is actually not working for us. And it is actually deepening the fundamental belief system that will actually develop. Political party is actually very strong. I am happy that the president says that you have to put independent candidacy in the new electoral bill before he signs. If that happens, then fine, maybe that is a kind of progression. But as it is today, with that political party, you cannot win an election.
Thank you. So I think that brings us to the middle of the program. Maybe we'll take a breath and then come back and continue. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is where we come to just about the middle of this program. When we return after a minute's break, we'll continue with the discussion. Stay with us.
The board and management of Media Trust Limited invites the general public to its annual Daily Trust Dialogue, themed 2023, The Politics, Economy and Insecurity. Date, 20th January 2022. Location, NAF Conference Center and Suites, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Chairman of the occasion, former Head of State, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, GCFR. Guest Speaker, Governor of Kaduna State, Malan Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai. Guest Speaker, Governor of Ebonyi State, Engineer David Umahi. Guest Speaker, former Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mrs. Ifueko Omoigui Okauru. Moderator, Executive Director, Daria Media Nigeria Limited, Kadaria Ahmed. And all participants must observe COVID-19 protocols and wear their face masks.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics, and now we get back to our discussion on women's political participation in the 2023 presidential elections specifically. So Hajia, I start again with you, and hopefully we'll be ending the program with you, Mr. Salahuddin. Hillary used to say in the in the 2016 election, she used to say that the glass is, glass ceiling, that they wanted to break the glass ceiling. They couldn't make it in 2016, but in 2020 and now, at least you're one step closer. You now have, or you're a heartbeat away from having a woman in the White House. So where are we in terms of practicality, rather than hypothesis? Where are we with that in Nigeria? Is this something we can hope for anytime soon?
I may say yes, because a lot of things just happen that without us even planning towards it. But this one is even planned. As I told you earlier, a lot of women are believing in their fellow women. So all we need is to keep building where we stop. Though we have not even stopped, but the where the journey of 2019 stops. Now I know a lot of women that are now in good places that never believed they are going to be in politics, but now they are chipping in. So if at all we have a lot of prominent women out there, I know it's going to be possible, and Nigeria can be the kind of trend breaker. It's true, it's possible.
That would be interesting to see. So, but there is this accusation that women are women's own enemies, or women's own biggest enemies. That even in political studies, that the argument is that where two women are standing for election for the same office, the contest used to be fiercer than if you had two men.
You're supposed to ask me that.
I will. If you have two women standing for election. So how does that take us? Towards,
okay, yeah, I will try. I will attempt it, and I will give it
certainly
back to you.
An attempt.
Yeah.
I will attempt it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
you don't believe he can answer.
I will take you back
Yes.
to something that happened during at the convention in 2003,
Yep.
when Sarah Jubril was also running. There was a congress
Yes.
of the political party, and of course there were a lot of women before them who were, and suddenly on the day of the primary and all that, she got just one single vote.
Her own vote.
No, I even doubt she voted for herself, to be very honest.
Wow.
I think somebody else actually voted
Voted
her.
for her.
I think she actually...
I think it's 2011
Wow.
PDP
Wow.
primaries,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
I think it's 2011 or
Or
so.
2012.
That was supposed to be a joke. But to be very honest, I think it is very important to, first of all, do an internal evaluation of the structures of women in terms of support system. Okay. The kind of solidarity that men get from each other. Okay. Sometimes you find it sometimes rare. Okay. Amongst women. You find out that maybe it is also some kind of natural connection. Okay, you find a daughter closer to the father. You find a father closer to the daughter.
Natural.
Could be natural. Could be some kind of. But of course, we need to be deliberate. Okay, that was why I mentioned the issue of planting an ideology, that vision, a movement. The right to vote and the civil rights movement in America started with somebody who had that wild thinking, started walking from one state to the other. People started joining the movement, and eventually it happened. Okay, so somebody just need to actually begin to flag that movement at every level, constituency, ward, local government, state, for people to begin to put some kind of coordinated approach and synergy building together. And then, of course, see if they can then put it into a political party movement, and then, of course, begin to launch it. Otherwise, they fuse it into an existing platform where they can now begin to share that vision and leadership. But unfortunately, you will find quite a number of politics thrives on one thing: unity. Okay. If you are not unified
as a party, and that is why you find this reconciliation committee from you have this. It is because they want to continue to hold sway on what they already have. Because the moment you have people who are not working together, you are likely going to have this kind of breakaway weakness, and that is actually a threat, a very big threat. Thank you. Haja, is it all about opposite forces attract?
I am not
and
going
like
to. I told you his set up time. But
yes.
before I even answer the question, I want to tell you a myth. It might be a myth, but it's a reality.
Okay.
Even the devil himself is afraid of women. This is a message to my fellow women. Even the devil himself is afraid of women coming together. Because whenever women come together, definitely it's going to be a blast.
For the men?
For everyone.
Okay.
Because if at all we bring our minds to work together, all these things that we're saying, all the problems I may see that we're facing in this world will be history. So why people think women are not a women enemy is because of just the, as I said, natural, let me say, forces, social cultural influences, and the way we're like psyched to think from the way we're being brought up. It's all about we, as in leaning on the men. So if at all you feel like you have to be protected by a man, how are you going to feel safe in the hands of a fellow woman? This whole thing needs to like stop. We are wives, we'll forever be wives, and we will forever be grateful to our husbands and whatsoever, and fathers and sons. But a woman is a nurturer. She sacrificed a lot. So therefore she should be allowed to dream and bring out what she has within her. Because if she do not display what she have inside,
but that's why. Argument that it is the
that's
woman,
why you had him.
Woman that is the bigger problem.
No, it's not about the other woman. The other woman was made to think like that because of how the society, her environment make her to think. It's not a natural thing. Because whatever way, sometimes we used to put this thing into religion, but no. Because during even the olden days, there were queens like Cleopatra. She was stronger than the men. If you go down to history, there are a lot of stronger women that live. But whenever a woman is on top, a lot of things change. That's why those forces are there to drag her down. That's why I say I initially started with a myth. So if at all women will be allowed, as in we start believing in ourselves, to come together and work, definitely it's going to be a better world. Not even Nigeria.
Interesting. So, Bob, within these smaller political parties, I don't want to.
We're not small, we're big.
I don't say alternative
maybe you can say not alternative. Maybe you say growing political parties.
The developing political
yes,
parties.
Better.
So within this framework, it's that. Well, they offer free nomination forms to women. They offer ready platforms to women. But there is the argument still that in terms of relating to women as women, within these parties politically, it doesn't change anything still. The men still feel that they should own almost all the offices and so on. Do you think that is true, and to what extent does it work?
Yeah, I think women participation and inclusion must actually be deliberate. One, and I think political parties must also have it as a policy. Okay, you must have an internal policy that actually suggests that. And secondly, you must also make attempts to either reserve specific executive positions within the political party system for women to suggest and demonstrate that you have the willpower, to allow that to happen. And to also ensure that you have women to, if you are not deliberate about it, to be very honest, in the current and emerging structure that we currently operate, opportunities and tendencies are there that women will fall back. Because, to be honest, no matter how very influential you think a woman is, it gets to a time she just feels that, well, I don't want to be part of this. So they have this motherly outlook to situation, okay? Once a conflict seems to be brewing, okay, she's looking for an attempt to make peace, okay, because that is the kind of, she's wired in that way. She's wired in that way to be able to build peace, to build bridges, to be able to reconcile, but unfortunately for us, our political interests and gains come from specific conflicts, okay? The benefits and those who have thrived from any political infrastructure are those who have actually made some kind of troubles, okay? That is negative, and it suggests that something is fundamentally wrong. Just like in the country today, for you to be very strategic, okay, it is either you are somebody who have been fomenting trouble somewhere, okay, then somebody says no, come, okay, take this, calm down, and support the system. And those were the kind of things we are seeing. We have seen that in the agitation, in the militancy, in Nigeria. We have seen that in several specific troublemakers are then compensated with pipeline contract, pipeline secret. So that is an attempt to silence them. So it is like procuring support. It is procuring your will. Because, of course, the only reason why you are actually making that trouble is for you to gain those, and you got the attention. Women are not wired in that manner. Okay? So we must actually look at some natural traits and natural features, okay, that women don't actually have those drives. Even in countries like Rwanda, that have about 56% women representation in different places. You have countries like Cuba. You have these countries deliberately made it an executive order to say, look, even if you don't have this percentage, you will do a rerun or you reserve it, but that a woman or women must actually, those are the kind of things we want to see. Political parties in this country, as it is today, are not willing and are not there yet to give women that space. They only make it a slogan, but it goes beyond theory. You have to go to practice.
Thank you. So this leads us directly to the elephant in the room, Haja. What can women do differently if, or let's say, when they do, in fact, emerge into offices like president or vice president? What can they do differently?
It's not doing anything differently. It's trying to do things the way things are being done. Why we are not there is because we have not been doing things differently. We have been doing things differently, but we, unfortunately, as he said, we have to now come and do things the way the men or the system have been doing it for a long time. There's one thing you mentioned about when a woman emerges, as in, even with the free form, a man will come, and it's not because he's a man. Okay. It's because he's been there before her. Okay. He has the trust of the people before her. It's not about the money sometimes, but sometimes it's about the money, because as you said, the political parties doesn't have an ideology. He'll just come with a big money just to, as in, sway her away. Not because she's a woman. Even if it is another man that's a new face, he will still be treated like her. What I'm just trying to tell you, the backbone of Nigerian politics is there should be a kind of transfer of... There are politicians that we have today, they have that capacity of grooming their own over time. And there are some that are only bosses. They want to remain on top there. It's just like using people like a kind of...
In terms of policy, because if you wanted to make a change in government, it will have to be either change in style of leadership, in the way you govern, or in what you govern with, the policies. As you said,
there are some natural...
So which policies can we expect?
Yes, there are natural things that
of governance
that are holding women back. Okay. As he said, definitely there should be a kind of some soft spots that are supposed to be put in for women to, as in, go there without them even being like out there. Do you get me?
Yes.
Because if at all those policies were not make as in laws, definitely a lot of women will not even get the possibilities or the space to showcase who they truly are. They have to come and maybe grab it the way we did it, through the window. So the government need to consider that, yes, these are like a little bit more weaker, because whether we like it or not, we are the weaker. We're the weaker ones. Whenever I saw here the feminist,
a woman president,
yes,
in 2023,
yeah,
what's she going to do different from President Buhari now?
A lot. Because as you said, we always look at things with the empathetic eye. We have empathy.
Yeah.
We look at things as in, with, like, everything is, because we have a kind of weird brain. Everything is connected to everybody, everything in our own brain. So definitely we have the tendency of thinking, okay, if this person is shot today, he has children. He has family to feed. I'm a mother like his wife. So we always like try to relate everything to everything. Today, if a woman is in office and she saw somebody embezzling money or whatever, okay, if at all these billions this guy is, definitely if at all maybe 10 of them can be there, maybe 10 people can benefit from what this guy is, you know? So we always think things with the kind of sympathetic eye. Because we know how things work, because we're great managers. We know how to put things where they belong, when to put them and how to put them. We're good at that. We're very good managers. And if we're given the opportunities, that's why we saw people like, imagine Germany, what Germany is today. So if we will be given that chance, we'll definitely do better.
Interesting. So this brings us almost to the end of the program. And so you'll be having the last say as we started. You know. So if some people have said that, I mean, this woman, Margaret Thatcher, she said that if you wanted to say something, get a man to say it. But if you wanted to do something, get a woman to do something. But then later on, people said, oh no, even when women are leaders, they tend to follow their social class, their party ideology, rather than their gender. That if you are a Republican and you are a woman, you will govern like any other male Republican president. Yeah. So if you're a PDP, you will just do what people in PDP do, regardless of whether you're a man or woman. How would this idea change the situation for Nigeria? Do you think it will be the same?
I think it will, to be honest, because if you look at, like you rightly acknowledged, they are very fantastic managers. I mean, she said so. Women are fantastic managers. And if they are managers and you make her a leader in a country, she will first of all attempt to make sure that the issue of livelihood is taken care of.
But there are corruption cases where, right here in Nigeria, women are mentioned just as much as men.
Absolutely. I mean, those are, if you now do the statistics, you will realize that there are men. Although if you say that the one she took took over 1,000 men, I can agree with you. Okay. Maybe it is because when they manage something, they manage it well. So when they also manage corruption, they also manage corruption. They also manage it very well.
So all the more reason we should be afraid, isn't it?
So, but I think also that if you have a forward-looking woman, okay, because to be honest, it would be an hyperbole to say that every woman would be like Desani. But if you have a woman who transfers the knowledge of home administration, okay, that understand the issue of livelihood, if you deal with the issue of livelihood and socio-economic interest of the youth, there will be some level of de-escalation in insecurity in the country. And she deals with the issue of education. We know that if you educate more people, there will be a lot of de-escalation in the situation that we are talking about. The issue of child mortality, the issue of access, to medical facility. She will understand that every woman who is pregnant should be able to access a primary health care center. Government presence in most of this locality and the absence is what has escalated the issue of patriotism to be absent. There is no patriotism at local level. So a man wielding gun, somebody sees him as a model. So he decides to join him. Okay, because there is no government presence. If you check a statistic of a research I did in Enugu and in Lokoja, in Kogi State, you will realize that what has made a difference to have de-escalated the issue of insecurity is because of small economic social safety nets, 5,000, 10,000, to some group of, just like what Zulum is doing in Borno, to Boko Deb. And that is the reason why the issue of insecurity has de-escalated. Because if you catch a bandit today and you ask him how much has he gotten from those things, they will tell him that they give him 5,000 or 10,000. The people who eat the money and not the ones in the bush.
The same, yeah.
You get my point? So if you take that guy and you give him socioeconomic impetus, social safety nets, and the same 5,000 that the criminal will give him, the same 5,000 that government will give to him, he will rather come to become to show patriotism.
Because he wouldn't have to run away.
He won't have to run.
He won't have to run.
He won't have to be die. He will be able to at least plan his life around that and actually move on.
I wish we have more time to go on and on because the discussion has been quite interesting. But unfortunately, this is where, well, fortunately as well, this is where we come to we draw the curtain on this program. We hope to bring you another edition of our daily politics tomorrow. Please be with us. Thank you very much, Hajia Umagezo, and thank you, Mr. Salahuddin Hashim.
Thank you very much
for being here with us. We hope to have you two either on the same day or on different days with us once again. And thank you, viewer, for staying with us. Please do join us once again tomorrow when we bring you another edition of Daily Politics. See you.